Hey everyone, it's me, Thomas Murphy Cosplay, and today we will be looking at my updated Red Eyes Black Dragon deck profile. Now, before we get into the actual deck itself, I wanted to show you a couple accessories that I use for my Red Eyes deck, and that is one, my Field Center card, which you've probably seen a couple times. It is the 20th anniversary Red Eyes Black Dragon, of course. It's Field Center that you just use, of course. I got the Tarzo Red Eyes Black Dragon, who remembers the Tarzos, and just use it as a simple coin flip while having these. And of course, it is Red Eyes Black Dragon, so best fits it. And even though that it's not a Red Eyes monster, it does support the archetype because of what I use, and that is my Claw of Hermos dice. I use that as well, even though that my Red Eyes does not use flip coins or dices. It's still nice to have in the actual collection itself, the deck itself. So here's my Claw of Hermos dice. It's a 6-sided die, of course. And, of course, yeah, it's Claw of Hermos, and you pretty much know why I use Claw of Hermos. Anyways, I don't know what the hell I'm saying. But let's get into the actual deck itself. Now, as usual, I play 3 copies of Red Eyes Black Dragon. Of course, your engine of the deck, it's just like when you play a Blue Eyes deck, you have 3 copies of Blue Eyes. When you play Dark Magician, you play 3 copies of Dark Magician. Or Cyber Dragons, 3 copies of Cyber Dragons. You get the whole thing. I play 2 copies of Dark Magician. These are obviously the spoilers for what I use in my Red Eyes deck, because Dragoon. Reason why people just would have a copy of Red Eyes Black Dragon and Dark Magician. 2 copies of Red Eyes Metal Claws Dragon. Yes, I'm actually starting to get the hang of using Metal Morph cards. So, yep, Red Eyes Metal Claws Dragon. Basically, you can summon it by sending a face down card to the graveyard, and also you can actually activate trap cards at the same turn that they were set. Mainly Metal Morph, Max Metal Morph cards. So it's really nice to have. And, of course, and I'd also use it for Xyz summoning as well as your level 7 Red Eyes Dragons. 2 copies of Red Eyes Black Meteor Dragon. You can special summon this from your hand by sending a normal monster from your hand or deck to the graveyard. And if you don't, and if you've done it, if you've summoned Red Eyes Black Meteor Dragon like that, you can actually increase its level by 1. So you can get a level 7, and you can use it for Xyz summoning Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragon, which we will get to that soon, which pretty much know that I use it. If you watch the whole journey of me updating this deck, yeah. 1 copy of Flameveil Guard, that's your level 1 tuner monster. I only run 1 Synchro monster, and you obviously know what it is. I run 1 copy of Blackstone of Legend. Basically, you can play this, summon any level 7 or lower Red Eyes monster, and also when both this and a level 7 or lower Red Eyes Dragon is in the graveyard, you can actually shuffle the level 7 Red Eyes monster in the deck and add this back to your hand, which is actually pretty nice. I run 2 copies of Black Metal Dragon. I did want to use 3, but look, for a bit of an update about this Red Eyes deck, this is a 45 card deck. So it's not 60 and it's not 50, which everyone's relieved of that. But yeah, I did want to put in 3 copies before, but it was a little bit too much. But you can actually use this to equip to any Red Eyes card and it gains 600. But if this was sent from the field to the graveyard, you can actually search out for any Red Eyes card that is any Red Eyes card in the deck. So, which is really cool. I run 1 copy of Red Eyes Soul. Red Eyes Soul is another level 7 Red Eyes Dragon that I really like. When this is in the graveyard while you have a Red Eyes Black Dragon on the field, you can actually inflict damage if you want, equal to the original attack points of that Red Eyes Black Dragon. Its name also becomes Red Eyes Black Dragon, and you can also use this for fusion materials and Xyz materials if you want. Which we'll get to that soon. I run 1 copy of Red Eyes Alternative Black Dragon. Basically another level 7 Red Eyes Dragon that you can use for Xyz summoning if you want. And you can actually play this instantly if you're slightly bricked. So yeah, that's what you could use for. I finally, for real, play 1 copy of Red Eyes Black Full Metal Dragon. One of your boss monsters that I am starting to like a lot, because it is actually a much better improvement to the original Red Eyes Black Metal Dragon, which of course I forgot to show you. Another Tarzo coin I got is the original Red Eyes Black Metal Dragon, but this is Red Eyes Black Full Metal Dragon. Still the same, kind of the same monster, but it's basically just, this is referred to the Red Eyes Black Metal Dragon when he was equipped with Dragon Nails in the anime, and that's why he's got 3400. Really awesome card that you could play, and I use that to go with your Red Eyes Metal Claws Dragon, and of course the trap card Max Metal Morph, which we'll get to that soon. But basically during either player's turn when a card effect has been activated, you can negate 1 card. You can negate this card's effect, and if I do, I can inflict damage to inflict damage to my opponent equal to the attack points of any random monster my opponent has on the field, and it is also a machine monster anyway. So it's really cool that I have a machine card as well, just in case if there's any dragon-proof cards as well. I was like, I got a machine. As well as Dark Dragoon, he's a spellcaster as well, but we'll get to that soon. Frick, I'm spoiling. 1 copy of Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon. Now, Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon is a very important card to have on the field, or in any deck. You want any dragon type deck you want anyway, so as long as it fits well with it being dark attributed as well. Which, another thing about this Red Eyes deck, I'm not using any light monsters. There are no light monsters in this Red Eyes deck. There is a bit of fire, which, speaking of fire, yes, I'm still playing Lord of the Red, but I'm only using 1 copy of Lord of the Red. So basically, during either player's turn, when a card effect has been activated, you can actually target 1 spell or trap card on the field, and you can just instant destroy it. You could use it to destroy your opponent's pendulum scales if you want, or destroy any kind of face down card. Yeah, it's really cool how it gets triggered instantly during either player's turn. So if you say play Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon while this card's here, you can actually basically chains Lord of the Red's effect. Yeah, so that's it for monster cards. We'll get to trap cards. Trap cards! Yes, I am only but playing just two different types, but of trap cards, and those are Max Metalmorph. You can actually, which is what you use to summon Red Eyes Black Full Metal Dragon, which I forgot to mention that about Red Eyes Black Full Metal Dragon is that not only that it's not a bricking hazard like the original Red Eyes Black Metal Dragon, it actually fixes the issue that we had 20 years ago when if you'd ended up having Red Eyes Black Metal Dragon in your hand, you can't summon it even when you have a Red Eyes Black Dragon equipped with Metalmorph, and it works for any level 5 or higher. Yeah, level 5 or higher dragon type monster. So it's actually really cool, and another cool thing about it is that you can actually, when this is in your hand, you can actually shuffle it, set one of these, and if you have Red Eyes Black Metal Claws Dragon on the field, you can actually activate it immediately and summon your Full Metal Dragon anyway. So that's actually a real big step up anyway with this. Anyways, 2 copies of Infinite and Impairments. I really can't read at the moment. I can't even read this. But it's a really good, another good trap card, which you could also use to set it and then summon your Red Eyes Metal Claw Dragon if you want. So it, as well as using it if you were, in case you were going second anyway, and if you're going second and you have this on the field, you can just play this and your opponent cannot activate spell cards on their first turn. So it's actually a couple of nice trap cards. And I don't really like trap cards, but if I can play trap cards with not just I'll set it, wait for the next turn. That's why I had an issue with trap cards, but yeah, getting Red Eyes Black Metal Claws Dragon helped me with Max Metalmorph, of course, which you guys been telling me in the comment section. Anyways, let's get to hand traps. Well, Infinite Impairments is a hand trap, but I meant tuner hand traps, which we'll get to right now. I run 3 copies of Ash Blossom Joyous Spring. Basically, you can discard this and stop your opponent from special summoning from the deck, sending something from the deck to the graveyard, or adding any card from the from the deck to the hand. So if the opponent plays something like, say, Dark Sage, you can just stop Dark Sage's effect by playing this. Anyways, this is just for a little example if you want, but it helps with that really in competitive play. So if you're playing competitive, I recommend you to grab 3 copies of these. I run 2 copies of Dark Honest. Like Black Metal Dragon, I did want to use 3, but I'd rather have 3 copies of Black Metal Dragon than Dark Honest, really. Dark Honest is a good card, but some of the times it had bricked my hand a couple times, but doesn't mean it's a bad card. It is still a really good card, and this is one of the reasons why I mostly play Dark Attributed cards. Even though that a normal Red Eyes Black Dragon is not going to win any fight, really, because you're going to also be battling monsters that are over 2500, and yeah, a lot of my opponents, people that I had battled, had used monsters that have attack points higher than 24 all the time, so yeah, and that's why I use these anyway. And it's also a pretty funny way to damage your opponent's life points as well, so it is a better version of Red Eyes Burn. And for the last hand traps, I play 2 copies of Ghost Ballet: A Haunted Mansion. I yeah, just like wanting 3 copies, I kind of shrunk it down to 2 for that similar reason for Dark Honest as well, because yeah, my opponent is more likely to be wanting to send stuff from the deck to the graveyard, so they won't have to search or dig in for drawing every turn. But this is kind of the opposite of Ash Blossom. So instead of stopping your opponent from searching from the deck, stops your opponent from activating card effects from the graveyard or summoning monsters from the graveyard, and this is what Ghost Ballet Haunted Mansions, really. So, that's it for hand traps. Let's get into the spells. The spell cards, I run 3 copies of Red Eyes Fusion. This is one of my most favourite Fusion spell cards, not only because it's a Red Eyes spell card, but it is also has a really cool upgrade with this spell card, is that for Red Eyes Fusion, you can actually not just fusion summon using fusion materials that are in your hand or on the field. You can even use monsters that are already in the deck. So it actually saves you a lot of hassle to get the actual fusion materials. So when you play this, you can actually just summon a monster instantly. But the biggest downfall is that you can't summon anything else as soon as you play the spell card. You can't summon anything else. You can Foolish Burial or activate other effects, but you can't summon anything else after playing this card. One little neat thing that you could use Red Eyes Fusion with is that you can actually change the fusion summon Red Eyes Fusion monster's name to Red Eyes Black Dragon, which actually goes so well with Red Eyes Soul, and I'll show you what I use Red Eyes Soul with right away, which you pretty much know what I'm using it for. Yeah, so 3 copies of Red Eyes Fusion. Another cool thing that it is searchable by using Black Metal Dragon and also Red Eyes Black Meteor Dragon, and another card which we will get to soon. Anyways, I run 2 copies of Cards of the Redstone. It's just like a Red Eyes Pot of Greed or Red Eyes version of Cards of the Redstone, and you can actually send another Red Eyes level 7 Red Eyes Dragon from the deck to the graveyard if you want. That is optional with the sending a Red Eyes from the deck to the graveyard, which is actually pretty cool anyways. So basically discard a level 7 Red Eyes and draw 2 cards. I run 2 copies of Return of the Dragon Lords, just in case I don't have have my Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon on the field. You play this, and the cool thing is that it has a really cool graveyard effect. While this is on the field, you can actually so if a dragon type monster I control is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can banish this card from the graveyard instead, so you actually save one of your dragons as well, and that's a really cool thing about Return of the Dragon Lords. Another Dragon Monster Reborn card is Dragon Revival Rasfidi. Since I actually play some spellcasters, even though most of them are in the extra deck, Dragon Revival Rasfidi is a really cool card to play. You're not going to be able to inflict damage on the same turn you activate this card, but you can actually not just summon one dragon type, you can actually summon 2, as long as you at least have a normal monster. As long as you're summoning a normal monster, you can summon an extra dragon type monster anyway. So you could just play So when you activate this card, you can special summon back your Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon and your Red Eyes Black Dragon and an extra level 7 Red Eyes Dragon if you want. Just so you could Xyz summon if you want. I play one copy of Claw of Hermos, which is kind of funny when I showed you my six-sided die with Claw of Hermos on it. Claw of Hermos, it's another fusion spell card that I use. Sorry, I was just sipping my coffee. And you basically play this and with any of your dragon type monsters, and you can play out another extra deck monster. You can use it with warriors or spellcasters to make other cards, but I'm using it for just one Claw of Hermos card. Red Eyes Insight, it is a Foolish Burial and a Search. You can actually say send a Red Eyes card from the hand or deck to the graveyard, and you could search out, say, one of your copies of Red Eyes Fusion, which is actually a really good lifesaver anyway, so you won't have to have much of a hassle. And another card that you can use Red Eyes Insight with is the ritual spell Red Eyes Transmigration, which I use for Lord of the Red, of course, which you pretty much know, Lord of the Red. Yeah, so basically using that as well. I run one copy of Raigeki, destroy all monsters on the field, just a clean out and then swing for game. And what I love about this new Raigeki is got my favorite Egyptian god card, Slifer the Sky Dragon. I run one copy of 1-for-1. And again, it's a new reprint, just like Raigeki. Discard one card in your hand and then special summon a level 1 monster. So you could bring out, say, your Black Metal Dragon or your Blackstone Legend or your Flamevale Guard. Now, I keep forgetting that this is an actual hand trap, which, don't worry, I do use that card as a hand trap, and that is Called by the Grave. It's a spell card, but cool thing about Called by the Grave is that you can actually discard this and stop your opponent from activating hand traps of their own. And one copy of Monster Reborn. Of course, I'm using it for either player. Grab any monster from either player's graveyard, and which I basically use Monster Reborn for Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon, since he's very important. Basically, one of the most important cards I have on the field, because he actually revives your other dragons. So, that is it for the spell cards. Let's get into the extra deck. So now for the extra deck, I run one copy of Relinquished Anima. I use Black Metal Dragon to summon this card out, since this requires one level 1 monster. It is a spellcaster type monster, and also when it's pointing to one card my opponent controls, I can actually take control of this card and equip it to my Relinquished Anima, and basically gain its attack points. Cool thing about playing Relinquished Anima and using the Black Metal Dragon as material is that when I play my Black Metal Dragon, it basically I can actually play this, send it to the graveyard, and immediately play Relinquished Anima, and you basically can search out for any card on the field. So you summon and search at the same time. So it actually helps chaining the effect. And I do run other link monsters. I run one copy of Wheat Witch's Apprentice. Another reason why most of my monsters are dark attributed is because this card requires 2 dark attributed monsters as materials, and also the fact that all dark monsters gain 500 attack and defense, but all light monsters lose 400 attack and defense as well. So it's really cool. So that means that when you have this on the field, your Red Eyes can beat a Blue Eyes in a battle now when you have this on the field. 1 copy of Nightmare Phoenix. Basically, you can discard 1 card, then target 1 spell or trap card my opponent controls and destroys it. But when this is co-linked to another card, you can actually draw 1 card. So that's actually pretty nice Link 2 monster to play. Decode Talker, if I wanted to bring out a monster for attacking, a Link monster for attacking, and I'd have, say, Wee Witch's Apprentice or Nightmare Phoenix, and I have another Black Metal Dragon on the field, or in my hand, I can actually summon Black Metal and link up with your Wee Witch's Apprentice to make a Decode Talker. And if I wanted to make more, if I wanted to make another bigger Link monster, I got Borreload Dragon. I didn't really want to use Borreload Dragon in my Red Eyes in the first place, but I actually started to like it. But I'm going to be honest with you. Although, let's read the effects and I'll tell you something funny about this. You can actually quick effect when this battles a monster, my opponent cannot activate effects, and the monster that it's battling basically loses 500 attack points. So that's a really cool brawling card to play. So it attacks, my opponent cannot activate anything. If this card points to a monster, so attacks opponent's monster. Basically, if this card attacks an opponent's monster, you can place that opponent's monster in the zone this card points to. You can take control of it, but send it to the graveyard during the end phase. What I find extremely funny, not gonna lie to you, I do find it funny how Borreload Dragon to me kind of looks like some new version of Greymon. I know, I love Yu-Gi-Oh!, Digimon, and Pokemon, even though that as a Pokemon fan as well who also loves Digimon, I do sound like, when I say that Greymon is my favorite Digimon, I do sound like a Halo fan saying that his favorite Nintendo character is Samus from Metroid. Oh my god. Yeah, it does feel like that anyways. So that's Borreload Dragon for you. Really cool 3000 attack point tank that can also decrease my opponent's attack points as well. I run, for Xyz monsters, I run 1 copy of number 11 Big Eye, another card that I can use to take control of my opponent's monsters, and it's a rank 7, so I can use my level 7 Red Eyes monsters, and even use Dragon Revival Rasfidi as well with this card. Same here with Wee Riches and Relinquished Anima. Now, and I run 2 copies of what I consider, me personally, that's my personal opinion, the best Xyz monster ever. This is Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragon. Basically, it is a really cool card to play if you're going first and you're just waiting for your opponent to set up their pretty much chaining every single effects. So what I mean by that is that every time when your opponent activates a card effect, while this has Xyz materials attached to it, you can actually burn 500 immediately each time your opponent activates a card effect. So basically, your opponent loses 500 every time he breathes anyway. So it's basically an instant win when you play this card anyway, depending on who you're battling against. who would do tons of combos and just to get an instant win. But this just locks everything and you have a massive advantage when it's your turn. One copy of Stardust Dragon, of course, because I use Flamevale Guard, and of course Flamevale Guard is a level 1 tuner, and Red Eyes Black Dragon is a level 7. 1 plus 7, 8. God, I sound so sarcastic. Oh, but during either player's turn, when your opponent activates a card effect that will destroy all cards on the field, you can actually attribute this and negate any destructive activations. And now let's get on to fusions. I run one copy of the Red Eyes Black Dragon Sword. I like using this to go with my Lord of the Red. This is what I use Claw of Hermos for. So basically, playing Claw of Hermos, you can actually play Red Eyes Black Dragon Sword, and what it basically does is that when you equip it to any monster on the field, it basically gives it a Buster Blader effect. And what I love using Red Eyes Black Dragon Sword for Lord of the Red is that is the chaining effect. So basically, when this card gets triggered, it chains Lord of the Red's effect, since you're mostly going to be summoning out or sending dragons from the deck to the graveyard, so it actually gains attack points and also destroys any card on the field. So that's why I love using these two cards together. And yeah, I do feel like that, yeah, I kind of see Lord of the Red wielding the Red Eyes Black Dragon Sword. That's just me, really, but hopefully we will get a card that's a new retrained Lord of the Red that wields the Red Eyes Black Dragon Sword. That would be really, really cool. Anyways, and now for the fusion monsters I use Red Eyes Fusion with, I run 2 copies of Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. Now, this is what people use in their meta decks. You can actually use Dark Dragoon in not just a Red Eyes deck, but also a Dark Magician deck if you want. And another cool addition that I've seen someone use Red Eyes Dark Dragoon in, which is in a Shining Sarcophagus deck, where someone actually got the Dark Magician, the Shining Sarcophagus Dark Magician, since its name becomes Dark Magician. And yeah, I've seen this guy use Dragoon with his Sarcophagus deck and fused with Gandora, and as well as, yeah, it was using Dark Magic Fusion. So I thought it was pretty cool that he did that, and you can actually basically use Dragoon mostly in a Red Eyes or a Dark Magician deck, but yeah, you can actually use it in a Shining Sarcophagus deck if you want. And the cool thing is that when you play it, you can destroy 1 card and then 1 or 2 cards to actually, if you're using both Dark Magician, if it was fused by using Dark Magician and a normal Red Eyes Black Dragon. So that's actually really cool. And having 2 copies is what I feel like is best. And I run 1 copy of Meteor Black Comet Dragon, another boss monster I like. So basically, yeah, so for my Meteor Black Comet Dragon, when this gets summoned, you can send 1 Red Eyes card from the hand or deck to the graveyard, and you can inflict damage half the attack points, so you could actually send your Darkness Metal Dragon to the graveyard and inflict 1400. And also, when you play this card, this is when Red Eyes Fusion comes in handy, and Red Eyes Soul. So I actually use Red Eyes Soul as fusion materials for Meteor Black Comet Dragon, because when this is in the graveyard, you can actually inflict 3,500, thanks to Red Eyes Fusion changing Meteor Black Comet Dragon's name as Red Eyes B Dragon, Red Eyes Black Dragon, or B Dragon, whatever. So you can actually use its graveyard effect to inflict 3,500, which is a massive chunk out of my opponent's life points anyway. And after using that effects, if I have Claw of Hermos, Red Eyes Transmigration, and Lord of the Red, the cool thing about this card is that when this is sent to the graveyard, I can summon a normal monster like my Red Eyes Black Dragon. So I use Red Eyes Transmigration, tribute Meteor Black Comet Dragon, since Lord of the Red has 8 levels, just like Meteor Black Comet Dragon. And after playing Lord of the Red, you can actually special summon your Red Eyes Black Dragon, play Claw of Hermos, and make the Red Eyes Black Dragon Sword, and equip him with Lord of the Red. And that's another thing that I use with Meteor Black Comet Dragon. Oh my god, I got a lot out of... I really lost my oxygen there. Sorry, I'm going to yawn. It's a lot. It is a lot. And... got a lot out of my system with trying to make this review, and of course I wasn't having a good couple weeks, so yeah. Anyways, that's all for my Red Eyes deck profile. I'm just losing a bit of breath after explaining how my Red Eyes deck works, but I hope you guys like it, and yeah, I'm glad that I'm now using 45 instead of 60 or 50. But yeah. Anyways, thank you so much, guys, and I will catch you next time.